How do you anticipate this conflict in the Middle East affecting precious metals prices?
I think that typically the market gets the first move wrong. Everyone expects the price to take off. My old friend, God rest his soul, Jim Sinclair, used to say MOPE, management of perception economics, that every time we've gone to war since the first Gulf War in the 90s, they knock the price down to manage expectations. We're told that it's liquidity management, that gold and silver are liquid and so they're sold first, but I don't believe that to be true. I think it's more managing the perception of what's happening. But look, I think if the war expands, it does become a massive catalyst for both gold and silver because it drives things that metals love most: uncertainty, loss of confidence, inflation, debt. Gold is real money, and I think that if it were me, I wouldn't be shaken by a pullback at all. I'd see this as a market giving you one more chance, because the amount of deliveries that we've seen over the past 16 months tell you that the most well-informed traders in the world who have been front-running all of this understand where the puck is going. Just like Wayne Gretzky never skated to the puck, he skated to where it's going. And they're telling you through their deliveries nonstop, which the media has missed completely and totally, that this is just beginning, that this is not the end of the bull market for gold and silver.
Now, is the mainstream missing it, or are they intentionally misleading people? Because I was having this conversation recently that the mainstream media has missed out on this whole bull run in precious metals. When they did mention it, it was often in snide remarks to say why you should be cautious about investing in gold and silver, why it's highly speculative. If we take the view of conspiracy theorists, which at this point, I think we all have to become conspiracy theorists, considering everything that's going on in the world, the Epstein files, etc., there is potentially a conspiracy of governments trying to stop people from understanding that gold and silver is money. That's through price manipulation. That's through the sort of volatility like we saw after silver ran up to well over $100 an ounce, 26% drop in a single trading day. There's some speculation that COMEX circuit breakers were supposed to trigger but didn't. That's a whole other conversation. But alongside with that, you have the media not paying any attention to many major events that are going on in the precious metals sector. Do you think this is all by design?
Yeah, the circuit breakers don't trigger twice on the downside. It's a glitch. And twice on the upside, there's an overheating of a server on Thanksgiving evening. Right at 11 o'clock at night, everyone's trading, right, on Thanksgiving. And then it does it again just last week, where they threw natural gas into the mix so that the natural gas in the metals market glitched again, and silver opened back up 4 hours later, $4 down. And then you go back and see how they did that during Thanksgiving Day or evening, when they did the same thing. Prices were flying, and then they knock it down. For 11 hours, the market is closed, saying, the server's overheated. Of the 1,000 commodities they trade, it just so happened that the metals market server's overheated. Forget about the triple redundancy these server farms have. But yeah, it was a glitch. 4 glitches since Thanksgiving, and we're supposed to believe that's random and okay. There is a fine line between conspiracy and reality. And you're damn right, Jesse. They missed the biggest thing, period. Yeah, if Reuters calling silver devil's metal, it's always in a negative light. What they've missed is that the most well-informed and well-funded traders on the planet, those here in New York, for 16 straight months have stood for delivery at levels nobody has ever seen before. Nobody. And it's not just the delivery. A lot of it's leaving the exchange. This should have been front and center news for the February delivery, which is it's not a primary delivery month, and I'll get the numbers pretty close, but roughly 25 million ounces were delivered, which would have been one of the smaller delivery months over the last 16, where it's averaged between 30 and 70 million ounces delivered. Billions every month. 25 million ounces delivered into the COMEX. 38 million ounces leave COMEX. 160% of what was delivered, which would be able to explain what left. 160% left of what deliveries would explain alone. In other words, who the hell is standing for delivery and then moving 39 million ounces out of the COMEX? Literally moving it out. If a mint box of Silver Eagles weighs 42 pounds, it's 500 ounces. Who's moving 39 million? Is there a coincidence? And talk about media framing things poorly. Does anyone in the mainstream even know that silver was classified a critical mineral for national security last month? That they've decided through Project Vault, which no one knows about, to build a strategic stockpile and to put state-sponsored price floors underneath this, the price of critical minerals like silver and platinum to incentivize domestic mining? None of this stuff is talked about, only the negative stuff. So you're right. There is a very fine line between conspiracy and reality, and they want everyone to believe that you and I and the people that you talk to are nuts, but yet we've been proven right over and over and over and over again, yet the mainstream won't acknowledge the journalistic integrity that we all grew up thinking was real is dead and is gone. And you're far more a mainstream journalist than anything we'll find on Fox or CNBC or any of the other mainstreams, because you have the courage not only to say these things to your guests, but the way you just said it is poignant and real and true. And you're damn right. This is being kept from us not only by misdirecting with price, but misdirecting with rhetoric and information. 100%.
Something you've discussed on this show is the amount of silver needed for military applications, and of course, not to mention all the other industrial uses for the metal. We are in the 6th year of a supply deficit of silver, according to the Silver Institute. How much do you think this industrial and military need for silver could affect the demand side here, and what will that do to prices?
Yeah, silver is absolutely needed for defense systems, for aerospace, for communications, for advanced electronics. So the military side matters because it's not optional demand, period. They're not going to stop buying it because it went up $20. They're going to secure what they need. And the same thing is true with industrial demand. It's sticky. It's critical. It's not the kind of demand that just disappears overnight. It's strategic, as we were just told. It is now a strategic metal necessary for not only national security, which would be military demand, but industrial demand as well. AI, energy infrastructure, they're all drawing from the same little pool of supply. So according to the Silver Institute, we're now in our 6th year of structural deficit. Then at some point, doesn't price have to rise to meet reality? And I would argue in an asset like silver, which is the one metal that the world really needs and is burning through as if it's abundant, that repricing won't be orderly. It'll be explosive because it's been held down for so long. And now the reality is that physical demand is far more important than paper promises. And you're beginning to see that through the deliveries across the globe.
The sponsor of today's episode is ARC Silver Gold Osmium. Owner Ian Everard is praised even by his competitors as one of the most honest and level-headed bullion dealers in the United States. They have some great prices. You can see some of them displayed right now on screen. Take advantage of these specials today by reaching out to Ian at 307-264-9441 or by email at ian@arcsgo.com. Make sure to tell him, of course, that Commodity Culture sent you. And now, back to the interview. Now, you mentioned prices needing to rise. You've been incredibly bullish on silver since I first started talking to you on this show. You've called it a generational opportunity. Your words prove prophetic as we saw the tremendous run up to triple-digit silver. But at these prices, because I've spoken to some people, in fact, I spoke to Jordan Rushi from Mining Stock Monkey recently. He said silver scares him right now because of how far and how fast it's moved in such a short time. Are you still seeing a large amount of upside ahead? And if you had to venture a guess, where do you think silver will be at the end of 2026?
Silver at these prices is not the end of the move at all to me. In fact, it's proof that the market's waking up. You have, what is his name? Just a second. There is, what's his name? The Michael Widmer, Bank of America's head of metal research, says silver could reach anywhere between 135 and 309 by the end of 2026. So when we talk about how high it go, you got the head of Bank of America, their metals analyst saying this. You have Michael Hartnett, their chief analyst, who came out not too long ago and said that you should sell half of your bonds and put 25% of your assets into precious metals. You have the chief investment officer for Morgan Stanley who said the 60-40 platform that Wall Street has used is dead. Same thing Hartnett said. He said It used to be 60 stock, 40 bonds. Sell half your bonds, he said, as well, and put 20% into metals. So I don't know, when silver wakes up, I can't see it stopping at what people think is reasonable. And there are people who think silver has gone too far too fast. I think it's finally gone far enough for people to notice, and not nearly enough to reflect reality. When you see the amount of metal that is standing for delivery every single month for 16 straight months unabated, it tells you the reality that price is the greatest tool of misdirection. And the length that they had to go to stop it from rising, 2 glitches. Don't worry, it's okay, it's just a glitch. Forget about all the other commodities. It's just focused on the one of the 1,000 commodities that COMEX trades. It's just gold and silver. Just keep on going. And the same thing is true on the downside. Oh, the circuit breakers that would stop it from falling broke twice. It's just a glitch. 4 glitches since Thanksgiving, but it's just no big deal. We're working on it. And then you see the deliveries. And then you see the head analysts at Bank of America and the head of their metals research saying could go to $309 by the end of this year. I don't know. You tell me. Where will it go? Silver and gold have never been allowed to find real price discovery because of the West and their desire to hold it down. Gold, for something called Gibson's paradox, the inverse relationship between real interest rates and the price of gold, and silver because the military-industrial complex needs it. End of story. So do I think it's too late? No, I think it's just beginning.